Welcome everyone. In this video, I'm not going to be telling you specifically what food you should eat because what I thought 2 years ago was healthy turned out to not be healthy. So there's no point to argue about one specific food. Instead, I will give you the method that I use and that you could use to pick the food that is the best for you. And at the end of the video, I will simply tell you what my diet looks like using the selective method that I currently use. Alright, so there's 4 principles that I use to pick the right food for me and that you could use to pick the right food for you. The first principle is always eating whole foods. What I mean by whole foods, it's food that hasn't been highly processed or modified by human. The less it has been modified by human, the better it is. Example, an apple, blueberries, or meat. What do they all have in common? They're one ingredient. It's just an apple is an apple, blueberry is a blueberry, meat is meat. You don't have anything else added to it. It's something that you can just find in nature. It's simple, it's one ingredient. Now, what about those things that you cannot tell if there's only one ingredient or what is made of? One of the example could be butter. Because butter, you look at butter, you don't really know what's inside of it. So what you could do is, if you see 2 pieces of butter, they look the same. You see 2 pieces of butter, what you do is you look at the label. One butter, it's written in the ingredients that it's only cream and milk. While the other butter, yes, you have cream and milk, but you have other things like vegetable oils or canola oil, palm oil, or a bunch of preservatives that you can't even pronounce because the words are so long. So that's what I mean by eating whole foods. It's things that you just can look at the ingredients and you know what it is. Another example would be peanut butter. Again, you can have 2 peanut butter, but they're different. They look the same, but they're different. Because one, you would look at the ingredients, and one would have a different mix of peanuts, like walnut, almond, you will have like chia seeds, and that's it. Just different types of nuts. And the other peanut butter, you would have those nuts, but on top of it, you would have extra sugar, you would have extra oils inside of it, you would have a bunch of different preservatives, and usually this extra stuff that is added is exactly what could make you sick or is making you sick. So you should be careful about it. You should look at the label and see, okay, is this something that should be there or can it simply be removed? If there's things that could be removed, then try to find another brand. Try to find a peanut butter that doesn't have this extra stuff. Try to find butter that doesn't have any oils or added sugar. So, this is the first principle. Eat whole foods. Now, the second principle that I use to see if a food is right for me or not is I try it myself. I try the food and see how I feel. Do I feel good? Do I feel bad after eating the food? And when I say feeling bad, I don't mean pleasure. I don't mean the pleasure you get from eating a certain type of food. What I mean is specifically the effects afterwards. After you eat the food, how do you feel mentally? How do you feel physically? So, as an example, if you would eat a bowl of ice cream, yes, you will feel good in the moment and a little bit afterwards after eating ice cream because it's pleasure, right? It feels good, it's sweet. But what you could concentrate on is the effects afterwards. Like, do you lack energy? Do you feel bloated? Do you feel tired? Do you feel motivated? Like, how do you feel after eating this certain type of food? And if you notice that after eating a food, well, afterwards you feel not great, you feel tired, you have brain fog, well, you just drop the food. So if you see that the food is bad for you and it has negative effects, you just stop eating it. No matter how much you like the food, like even if you really like ice cream, if you really, really love it, but you see that there's negative effects, you drop ice cream. You stop eating it. And if you if you're not sure if a certain type of food has an effect on you or not, what you could do is you just stop eating it for maybe a week, and then you see how you feel. You see how you feel. Do you have brain fog? Are you more tired? How do you feel, right? Mentally and physically. And then, after a week of not eating that food, you eat it again. And then you see how you feel afterwards. And you compare. Are you feeling better when you eat that food or when you don't eat that food? And if you see that the food has negative effects on you, well, you simply stop eating that food. Even though you really love the food, you will have to stop eating that food. Now, the third principle that I use to choose the right food for me is researching. However, there's two things that you should be really careful with. The first thing is, do not only look at the research that satisfies your own desires. For example, if you really love bread, do not only look at the research that says that bread is good. You have to look at all the researches. And then, once you have the pros and the cons, then you can make the proper conclusion if that thing is good for you or not. So just be careful with this, because I know it's hard. Like even me, I sometimes do the error of just looking at the research that satisfies my own decisions and my own beliefs. Now, the second thing you should be really careful with when doing research is not only looking at the food itself, but also looking at how the food got into your plate. Where does it came from? What company sells it? Who benefits from it? What's the company's motives when selling you this food? Example, you can have a research that says that animal fat is bad, that cooking your food on butter is bad. But then you look at who sponsors the research and you see that it's the same company that sells vegetable oils. So the company that sponsors the research that says that cooking on animal fat is bad is the same company that sells vegetable oils. And then you start asking yourself, well, is this company have the best interest at heart? Does this company wants me to be healthy, or is this company just giving this research on the market because it wants more people to buy their vegetable oils? That's the type of thing that you should ask yourself. And another example would be the research that says that, for example, red meat is bad. And look, I'm not here to argue if red meat is bad or not, but I'm here to try to make you understand that you have to think where the food comes from, where the research comes from. So you have sometimes research about red meat and it says that it's unhealthy for you, but then you see who sponsors the research and you realize that it's the same company that is making meat in a lab. So maybe the company benefits from people stopping buying real meat and buying their meat that they grown into a lab. So maybe that's they benefit from the from making the research. So there's things that you should be careful with, because from experience I realized that the companies most of the time they don't have the best interest. Okay, they don't have the best interest at heart. They don't really care about your health. They care more about making profits. And lastly, the fourth principle. After I did all the research, after I tried the food for myself, if I'm still not sure if it's healthy for me or not, I simply avoid it. The fourth principle is avoid the food that you're not sure if it's healthy for you or not. And I'm just going to give you an example. At night, if there's an alley that you're not sure if you're going to get stabbed if you go into it or not, would you go there? Of course not. You wouldn't go there because you don't know if you're going to get stabbed walking this dark alley or not. It's the same thing here. Well, a little bit. If you're not sure if the food is healthy for you, if this food has negative effects or not, simply avoid it. It's better to be safe. It's better to be safe than sorry. So if you're not sure, just avoid this food. So as I promised, using this selection process, those four principles to choose the best diet, here's what I eat. I eat a lot of animal fats. I eat a lot of fish, steak, chicken, liver, eggs, butter, the real butter, okay? Not with the extra stuff inside of it, just pure butter, right? So, like I said, butter, eggs, nuts, fruits, especially blueberries. I love blueberries. Vegetables, and also this thing that it's called salo. It's fat from pork, the white fat from pork. It's put in huge amount of salt, and it stays there for like a week or something, and then you simply eat it. But look, make sure you know how to do it, or if you want to be safe, just buy it from somebody else that knows how to do it. Just make sure you know how to do this. And yes, basically a lot of animal fats, a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, a lot of nuts, and especially I eat a lot of garlic, okay? Fresh garlic, fresh onions, and a lot of salt, but not table salt because again, when I see the ingredients, and yeah, as I thought myself, and you might think that salt only contains salt, but if you look at the ingredients of table salts, sometimes there's just extra stuff inside of it, and I don't like it, so I just use Himalayan pink salt, and it works good for me. It's not only salt, but it has like minerals, other minerals inside of it, because this type of salt is being mined because it's in the ground. So there's not only salt, but other minerals that is good for you. And yes, basically that's my diet. It's a lot of animal fats, a lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, and that's it. That's how I'm healthy. That's how I'm lean, and I'm happy. So you can use those four principles to just pick the best diet that is the best for you. Because maybe the things that I told you what I eat now, maybe it's not going to be the best for you. So use those four principles. Eat whole foods. Make sure the ingredients is the things that you want to put into your body. The second principle is try it yourself. See how you feel. The third principle is do the research and be careful when you do the research. And the fourth principle is just if you're not sure if a food is healthy or not, avoid it. All right. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace out.